Culinary arts students at Ulster BOCES were recently treated to a rare lesson on how beef gets from the pasture to the plate. It included discussions on grass versus grain-fed animals, sustainability, and the butchering of an entire cow carcass, a skill not many chefs are trained in.
Well, I think the influence that they don't even realize they have yet, but as they become chefs and as they hopefully open up restaurants or work in other restaurants where they have influence, to give them this knowledge at such an early age and for them to carry that forward and be able to initiate some of these things, not everything obviously, but initiate some of these things is hugely powerful. The more chefs that we can get on board thinking about pastured animals and well-raised meat, I mean, the better off we're going to be.
With the growing popularity of the farm-to-table movement, it's no surprise that there is renewed interest in the lost art of whole animal butchery, a craft that can take years to perfect.
Is there an art to it?
Sure, yeah, it's deconstruction, right? It's deconstructed art. Absolutely. I mean, you cut according to sort of the muscle structure and what the ultimate usage of that muscle is. So you have to have an idea of anatomy and myology, and obviously there's a visual cue there that you need to pay attention to in terms of seams and joints, and so absolutely.
During the demonstration, the butcher introduced students to some familiar, not so familiar, and newly discovered cuts of meat.
You had your short rib plate, and then you had your chuck with your neck on it. That neck would get taken off, and that would go in the trim. And then the rest of this all went to grind. Like, we ground all of this until they started to dig a little deeper and find some really interesting muscles in there.
Was there cuts that you didn't know about, and what were they?
Yeah, there was a lot. The Denver, the Petite, a lot of the smaller ones that he said they recently discovered. I didn't know many about those. I knew the classic, knew about shanks, porterhouses and stuff. I didn't know about these lot smaller cuts.
Yeah, I think the resurgence is in the artisanal seam cutting, utilizing muscles, really looking at muscles in terms of how they can be cooked, the various ways, texture, all those sorts of things.
Students were amazed at how much he was able to remove and to use from the carcass. He reminded them not a single bit should ever go to waste.
Almost any part of the animal is usable. I thought some of the intestines aren't usable, but they are.
I didn't think there was as many cuts as there were. You just don't see them as often in grocery stores and such.
I thought it was amazing, how fast he could cut, and just experience that he would just cut it all up, just know where everything was.
I was most impressed with all the words, or all the names he knows, because I feel like a doctor would probably know all those tendons and everything, but he knows it with animals.
Despite the uptick in whole animal butchery, the average restaurant rarely has the time or space to butcher a whole animal. But according to Mayer, that is changing. Lessons like this underscores the value of knowing the art of butchery.
Definitely makes sense from the cost of the product, but you also have to look at labor and look at what it takes, and do you have a skilled professional in your restaurant, in your kitchen, that can efficiently break down a carcass.
Some students said the demonstration will help make them a cut above all the rest.